welcome to Pay It Forward. Today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this patchwork cushion cover. It's a really simple design. It's got an easy envelope back closing. So if you'd like to make it along with me, click on the link in the description below. You'll be able to download your free PDF pattern templates, print them out, and we'll get started. To make our cushion today, we first need to cut our front squares. I have cut 2 in one print and 2 in the other. They measure 21 centimetres squared, and I have actually put interfacing on the back of mine. Then you'll also need your 2 back panels, and they measure 41 centimetres by 30, and I haven't interfaced those. You'll also need your felt letters cut out with the fusible webbing on the back. You can see that there. So to start with, we're going to set those aside, and our first task is simply to join together, right sides together, our front panel squares. So just to sew along one side of each and just make 2 matching pairs. So just on the machine, your seam allowance is around about 1/2 centimetre, so about 5 to 6 millimetres. So you can see I've sewn those 2 seams, and I've also pressed those seams out flat. So our next task is just to join those 2 pairs together. Now you can see that I've alternated it so that we've got our little 4 patch style there, and make sure that you pin those centres together right on the seam line there, right at that junction, so that when you sew that seam it's all nicely centred. So it's just a matter of staying with the same seam allowance and sewing just this seam here. So our front panels are all sewn together, and I've pressed open those seams also. You can see there. So now it's a matter of positioning our letters onto our squares. Now I find that 2 centimetres from this centre line is the best measurement for these letters. So 2 centimetres this way, 2 centimetres this way. Same with these ones. Because the letters are different widths, you'll need to centre them top and bottom, top and bottom. Have a little play with it and you'll see what looks right. Same with your positioning here and here. When you think that's right, peel off your backing papers, fuse those on with a hot iron and a protective cloth. Now those letters are nicely fused into place. You can choose several methods for sewing on your letters. I'm actually going to sew a machine top stitch just on the inside, probably about 2 millimetres in, around the edge of each letter. I'm going to use an off-white thread so that, because I really want that stitching line to show up. You could of course blend your thread colour with your letter colour. You could alternatively sew a buttonhole applique stitch around the edge of each letter with an embroidery thread, like I have. That's the stitch there on this little teacup. So, or you could perhaps just do a very close machine zigzag all around the outside. If you do a zigzag stitch, I would recommend that you match your thread colour to your felt. So go ahead and sew those letters on in your preferred way. There we have our letters all sewn on, so we can pop that one aside. And our next step is to hem one side of each of our back pieces. Now I like to turn under, you can see there about 1 centimetre, and press it, and then turn it under again another centimetre, and you can see I've pressed that edge. And I'll show you on this one, I've then sewn nice and close to the edge of that seam, nice and close to the edge there. So do that on both sides. So now it's time to assemble our cushion. So with right sides together, and we're going to put right sides together again here. Our first back flap, make sure you line it up at the top, and then our second flat, right sides together again, lined up at the bottom. You can see we've got a nice overlap there for our envelope back. Just a matter of popping your pins in, making sure you've got it all squared, and going ahead and sewing that seam around the entire outer edge. I make it a 1 centimetre seam in a matching thread all the way around, and make sure when you're coming to these sections here, these junctions, just sew back and forth a couple of times. That'll really reinforce your envelope opening at the back when you put your cushion insert in. There you can see I've sewn that seam all the way around. I've then gone ahead and I've just trimmed my corners there, and I've also sewn, this is optional, but I've done a zigzag stitch all around the edge just to finish that raw edge. That's entirely up to you. If you have an overlock or a serger, you could use that. So now we just turn our cushion through. This is my favourite part. It's like opening a present every time. So pull that through. I like to use something like a knitting needle to push those corners right out. So push those right out, and then give your cushion a press. Go right the way around. Give the cushion a press, and then we'll pop in our insert. So there we have our completed cushion, a nice envelope back. I've actually used a size 15 insert for this one, which is a good fit, but check your sizing because I'm sure they differ throughout the world. But that's a lovely result, perfect for a teenage girl's room. Well, I hope you've enjoyed making this cushion cover with me today. It really does use up all of your patchworking, quilting scraps, so it's great for that. If you have enjoyed this video, perhaps you could give it a thumbs up. That would be beaut. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming projects. Remember to comment. I love to hear what you've got to say. Remember to pay it forward because everybody can. And until next time, it's hooroo from me.